Yes, ladies and gents, welcome back to another episode of the Fancy A Kickabout Podcast with me, Ash Marshall.
And me, Liam Sterling.
Today we will be going all over the latest Premier League results, including a bizarre 3-3 draw between the mighty Arsenal and the Irons West Ham. And we'll also be going into the international break. So we will be covering all things England and other fixtures that have caught mine and Liam's eye.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Nice one, yeah. There's some decent fixtures at the weekend, given that there's been a bit of a shorter game week this time around, but there's still been some interesting games and some interesting wins as well. So
it has, yes,
I guess we'll start off with Friday's fixture then.
Yep, so Leeds 2-1, I believe.
Yeah,
Fulham, it's a good result for the Leeds. I backed them to win that game. It's been a long time coming for Leeds. They've had some difficult games. They've had some games that they probably should have maybe got something a little bit more from, particularly that Chelsea home game. I thought they came away with that with only the point, but I think they maybe deserved a little bit more against Chelsea then. But yeah, good result for Leeds against a Fulham that is definitely improving week in, week out. As we say every week, it's going to be interesting to see who that third relegation spot's going to go to. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with Leeds' performance. They came out all guns blazing. I felt if they didn't do that, then it would have been a tough game. You can't play into the hands of Fulham anymore.
Yeah, it was an interesting matchup from the start. Like you say, it was probably a result that most people expected. But I think credit to Fulham because they've done. I think we spoke about it before. They've done such a good job of turning things around after quite a tough start. And this was a game that you wouldn't have looked at and gone, okay, this could be another 3 points to push them out. You knew it was going to be tough. You knew, the way that Leeds have taken to this league as well. I mean, they're barnstorming it, considering that this is their first season since getting promoted. So, yeah, a result that is expected. Rafinha again, a fantastic player.
Yeah.
Bamford on the scoreboard. I've got both of them in my FPL team. So
yes, me too.
For me,
I had Dallas as well, but yes, Dallas didn't keep the clean sheet. But no, bit of a dead weekend for FPL. I think I had about 7 players playing, but there's still some teams out there that managed to get over 100 points, which does my nut in, but oh well. But yeah, good result for Leeds. I think, as I said, it's been a long time coming. They needed those 3 points. And Bamford shining again. There's no denying that he's a top class striker. It's been a long time coming for him. So I think we said he needs to believe himself that he can actually do this week in, week out. I'm surprised he didn't get on the plane to the qualifiers, but we'll move on to that, I'm sure.
He's definitely making a case for himself. I think I'm not really too fussed about this selection for these 3 games, but like you say, we'll get into that in a bit. But I don't think it's too much of a worry for him. I think he just needs to keep his head down and keep playing his football, and then we'll see at the end of the season. Saturday's game then. I think Newcastle, this is good. It's not looking great for him. A Brighton 3-0 at home. Again, I think this was a result that was probably expected again. I think Graham Potter and Brighton have been sort of slowly building for quite, a dominating performance and in a game where they're going to run away with it. They needed the points and they played, like we've said before, they played good football and I think they deserved it. Newcastle, it's not looking great for them, is it?
No, it does stem from the top. For me, all problems at football clubs tend to show on the pitch, no matter what's going on behind the scenes. And you can tell with Mike Ashley, whether his heart's in it at the moment with Newcastle or not. I don't think it is. I don't think it has been for a very long time. So I do feel sorry for Newcastle fans, although I have got a bit of a soft spot for Sunderland. But, it's just not good to see. And especially Newcastle, their fans there's no denying, they've got quality fans, very passionate up north. It's a shame to see, but the only way I see Newcastle going is down. Graham Potter, really impressive performance. Danny Welbeck looked good as well, which I thought was good to see for his age, still shining. Great finish for his goal as well. Yeah,
I agree with that. It's a shame. I mean, my granddad, he's a Geordie, so he's a big Newcastle fan. And he's been Ashley out, ever since the bloke even came in. Yeah. You just knew there's just something shifty about him. He's got that aura from him. You just know things aren't quite squeaky clean, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's a shame Newcastle have a basis there where they've got a fantastic stadium. They've got a massive fan base of loyal fans as well, and they're a side that should be one of those maybe top 10 contenders for me. And you've seen it before where they've pushed for the top four, and the players they've had at that club. There's so many iconic Premier League players that have come from Newcastle or represented Newcastle. I mean, even Alan Shearer, he's the top goal scorer in Premier League history. He's a Newcastle player at one point or another, and I just think they've got this basis there that they can build on. But it's just, you just know that Ashley's not the right person to be the owner of that club. I know that we'd had hopes on the takeover, but even that, I think that's clouded in a bit of scepticism as well. And the manager, I mean, no disrespect to Steve Bruce, but he's not good enough to be managing and trying to push a club with Newcastle's potential to those next stages. Whereas you see with Brighton, on the other hand, this isn't a club that's trying to build what maybe Newcastle have infrastructure-wise, but they've got the right manager for the job, they've got the right owners for the job, and things just seem to be clicking a bit better. They're doing a really good, task of it behind the scenes, Brighton, and I think this has been a long time coming for them in the Premier League. They're slowly starting to show that actually they are cemented themselves in this league, and they're not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It's just going to be up from here, I think.
Yeah, and they're playing good football, Brighton, as well. I think that's the most appealing thing, and it's good to see a young English manager in Graham Potter. Definitely one for the future, whether it be for the England job or a top 6, top 8 side. But yeah, with regards to Newcastle, I think it's been a long time coming. It's like a yo-yo with them. Obviously, there was talk about the takeover earlier on last year, which all fell through. But you can just see that the problems stem from the top, and it really does show on the pitch. I know they're not had the greatest luck with injuries, with St. Maximin, the long-lasting effects of COVID-19, which obviously is not ideal.
No.
And obviously Isaac Hayden probably had one of his better seasons for Newcastle at the moment as well. But yeah, I'm not surprised where Newcastle are heading, and with Steve Bruce, it's just a no from me. I think they had a good thing going with Rafa Benitez. So, obviously he didn't get given what he wanted or whatever the scenes were behind that. But yeah, one way is down for Newcastle, and I can see Fulham creeping up.
Yeah, it's a shame really, because like I say, I think Newcastle they've got such a good foundation there, but they've just got the wrong people in charge and taking charge of it. They've got the right tools for the job, but the worksmen ain't got their qualifications sorted. But move on to the next one. Then we get on to Sunday. Maybe a bit of a bittersweet one for you. I know that Josh from last week will probably be very happy with this result. Spurs 2-0 against Aston Villa away. An all right performance overall. Harry Kane on the score sheet again, and Vinicius was the other goal scorer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, with his famous arms crossed celebration.
He's copying
sure
22-year-old.
Do that if he scores against his son in the garden.
He loves it, doesn't he? 5-yard tap in, and he just brings it. He loves it.
Fair play to him. Apparently, he was doing it before Mbappe was. That's the rumour, but
I don't know.
I'm not going to say anything. I wouldn't call out Mbappe anyway.
I'm going to stick with it. Mbappe's celebration. He's another planet to Vinicius, but
yeah,
a shame for Aston Villa. I think they probably might have gone into that game hoping they could get something from it after the results that Spurs have had recently. What were your thoughts on it? Ollie Watkins drawing a blank after getting a call up to the England squad.
Yeah, it's same again. We said it last week as well. I can't remember what their result was. I think it might have been against Leicester, but without Grealish, they are a totally different side. It shows his class and how good he is. They struggle without Grealish, and for me, I'm not worried about them finishing above us anymore. I know it's quite a weird thing to be saying. I'm not worried about Aston Villa finishing above Arsenal, but the longer Grealish is out, the worse for them. So, obviously you've got 2-week break now. Maybe he'll be back after the internationals are done with. But Tottenham needed that result. It would have been a very miserable week if not. So Mourinho needed that result more than anyone. I think the fans would have been on his back even more so. But a penalty from Kane, I just want to say that penalty is very similar to Lacazette's penalty. So for all the Spurs fans saying, Lacazette's wasn't, but then you got to look at Kane's this week. So that's that cleared up, thank God. But no, Tottenham needed that result, and Villa Park's not an easy place to go to, especially this season. But I do think without Grealish, they are a totally different side, and Watkins looks like a different player without him. So that's interesting to see.
Yeah, I think the thing with when you look at Grealish, I know some people are a fan of stats, some people aren't. I'll leave that up to the viewers whether they want to, go through it with a fine-tooth comb. But when you look at Grealish, not in just the Aston Villa side, but just in the Premier League overall, he's one of the most creative players in the league. He creates chances per 90. He's got, I think he's in double numbers for his assists already this season. He's on 6 goals, I think, and 10 assists maybe. He's enjoying, his best season in football, period. And Watkins clearly does rely on that attacking outlet from the left. And like you say, without him, you take him out that side, you just wonder what sort of player Ollie Watkins is. And it's not me taking away from what he's done. It's his first season in the Prem since coming up with Brentford. So, he's on, I think, 10 goals already this season.
Yeah.
Impressive. Like, it's his debut season in the Premier League. And he's clearly doing well. He went to Brentford as an understudy for Neil Maupay before he left for Brighton. So he's done his work and he's put the graft in and he's seeing the rewards. But I think maybe he's learnt to rely too heavily on Grealish in that side. But maybe over time we might see him creep out a bit more and sort of form his own maybe attacking style and not rely so much on the chances given to him from Grealish. Maybe he can start creating some stuff for himself. Only time will tell. He deserves his England call up. He's played well. But yeah, he's struggling without Grealish, like you say.
Yeah, I like to compare him to Bamford. I know obviously Bamford's a little bit more experienced, but in terms of, a striker, Premier League, being written off, big pressure, and, as you say, like creating your own style of play without, Rafinha playing, for example, I feel like I'd be more comfortable with Bamford in my team than Watkins.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, but I'd take Bamford over Watkins all day long, in my opinion. I think Watkins, he gets given so many opportunities. He could be on 20 goals, but maybe next season we'll see Watkins flourish even more, but who knows?
Yeah, we'll definitely see him grow. He's like you say, he's able to make those chances for himself. He hasn't got this, snap of pace like maybe some forwards in the league do, and he hasn't got that maybe technical ability on the ball, but he's a smart player and he gets in the right positions and he knows how to finish. So he is a bit of a Kane, I suppose, but maybe not as prolific. But like you said, I think I don't know how old he is now, but those things do come with time and they come with experience. And Harry Kane's been doing it in this league for a fair few seasons now. This is Bamford's first full proper season to be able to prove himself in the Prem, I'd say. And yeah, he seems to be doing well. I'll let you go on to introduce this next game of the calendar because, it was a hell of a game.
I don't even know if I want to introduce it. My heart has literally just stopped beating. So crazy game. First 10, 15 minutes of Arsenal's game was awful. First 5 minutes off, I had a bit of a weird feeling. But yeah, to be 3-0 down within 25 minutes against West Ham is not acceptable under any circumstances. I was thinking and dreading the worst, in all honesty. You can't take anything away from Jesse Lingard's goal. Brilliant strike. And then second goal, Bowen, just Arsenal fell asleep. Really unprofessional. And it's that goal, it did make me sit there and think, hold up a minute. Arteta, you've been here for a year and I've just seen that same mistake again. And we're here a year later. Like, what's going on? And then third goal, awful defending. David Luiz fell asleep. So, yeah, I went into half time. It was absolutely embarrassing. I didn't even know what to think.
I bet you wanted to turn the telly off.
Oh, I watched it with my in-laws as well, and they're all West Ham, so it was even worse. But no, it was terrible first half. Second half, probably the best second half we've had all season. Still, Antonio hit the post again. I think Jesse Lingard have another chance to bury the game, so it still weren't amazing. But to come back from 3-0 down at half time, away from home, you can't take that away from the Arsenal football team, and especially Arteta. Whatever he said at half time worked. His substitutions were perfect with Pepe, and Odegaard looked amazing. He looked brilliant. He looked really in his moment, and someone's tweeted saying he looked like Ozil with Jack Wilshere's work rate, and that's just perfect. But yeah, I don't know what your thoughts as a neutral, Liam, but I had a heart attack.
I think personally, I get what you're saying about how, to go 3-0 down to West Ham at half-time is unacceptable. But I think if any season where you're going to have that from West Ham, now is it. They're enjoying some of the best football they've had for a while. So I wasn't surprised by it because I think at times you see Arsenal this season that they are asleep in the first half and they don't. I don't know whether it's this mindset where you look and you really don't appreciate maybe the form or the quality of the people that are in front of you sometimes, because obviously you're Arsenal Football Club and you've got this rich history and you're experiencing maybe this slight downfall at the minute, that maybe some of the players look at it and go, well, no, at the end of the day, we're still Arsenal. And they forget that maybe, you're not quite in the top 4 race at the moment, and you're not pushing for those Champions League spots like, Leicester and United are at the minute. There is a gap between the two, and I think maybe Arsenal underappreciate what's in front of them sometimes, especially with West Ham, because we look at them from previous seasons, and yeah, I would have been the same. I'd have been going into that thinking, it's be all right, 3 points sorted. Shouldn't be too much of an issue, but some of those players are in the form of their life, and I think credit to them, because that first half was just, the quick thinking from Lingard with that free kick for Bowen's goal was just, again, that's Arsenal not appreciating and not showing enough respect maybe for the opposition. But second half, you come out and, like you say, whatever Arteta said and whatever he's implemented on them during that second half, for the mentality to come back. And I get, it's a Premier League game against West Ham for maybe a team that aren't, fighting for too much at the minute, but it still shows incredible mentality and strength to just be able to come back from a result like that at the start. And I think, Odegaard, is a great little player. It's a shame that, his growth maybe he was stunted a bit with Real Madrid, but the loan to Sociedad did him, world of good. I could see you definitely trying to keep hold of him in the summer, and I've seen some things about him trying to make the move permanent himself, because it just seems like a match made in heaven. And like you say, the Ozil-Wilshere comparison, I think, is spot on. I hadn't heard that or seen that, but that's probably the best way you could describe him, because he has that flair and that ability on the ball, but he's also tracking back and he's also making those runs and trying to cut up play, and he's everywhere. He's literally everywhere, and that's what you need, I think, especially when you've got an attacker like, a striker like Aubameyang and strikers like Lacazette and the wingers that you've got in Pepe. That pace, they need that number 10 to be able to string those passes and get those moves going and in between the lines, and he just seems perfect for that. And yeah, match made in heaven so far, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. He suits Arteta's style of play. It didn't work out with Ozil. It did at the beginning because he can, going forward, perfect, but tracking back, horrendous. And I think Odegaard he ticks all the boxes for Arteta. So, I kind of hope he doesn't play as well as he did on Sunday every game now, because it'll probably bring up his price by about 80 million now in Madrid. But no, as you say, I can definitely see us going in for him permanently. I think it's just a reality check for Arsenal, going through to the quarterfinals of the Europa and beating Spurs. Yeah, hey ho, great result. But, look, we're still 9th in the league. It's been a horrendous season for Arsenal. It was a reality check to go to West Ham and be 3-0 down. But as I said, great character. And I think it could be, I'm not saying it's going to be a massive turning point, but we could look back in this time next year and think, do you remember that time we came back from 3-0 down? Yeah. What a result that was. What spirit we showed as a team. I think maybe Arteta could use that. It could be quite a pinnacle point for his career.
Yeah, it's one of them sort of turnaround games that you can go back and reference and go, this was the point where things started to change maybe. It seemed like one of those performances during that second half where you can see what quality is there in that squad. And I want to give a little shout out to Callum Chambers, because to come back from the injury that he had, I've seen it with players at Liverpool. It's tough. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain really hasn't been able to get his football going. He enjoyed such a great little spell of maybe 15, 20 games for Liverpool, and you thought, wow, this is what he can do in midfield. This is why he's been crying out at Arsenal to play in midfield, and he wasn't getting the response he wanted. And then he suffers that injury, spends almost a year out, and it's heartbreaking to see, because when there's players of that quality and they had taken injury like that, it's tough to come back, not just physically but mentally. And Callum Chambers was he looked on another level. He looked even better than what he did before he had the injury. So I think all credit to him. He that ball into the box. We all know what one we're looking at there, and it's forefront football. It's what you want as well.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wouldn't have expected that maybe from a player like Chambers. He doesn't come, when you look at him physically, he's not the sort of player to be doing making those sorts of runs and putting in those sorts of crosses, but he's been working on something on the training pitch, so fair play to him.
Yeah, English Cafu, I reckon. But no, he was signed by Wenger, so Wenger, he's had his bad signings, but he has had some magnificent signings, so he might have left us a little gem there. But no, as you said, good to see, and it gives Bellerin and Cedric a run for their money. I think I can see Bellerin scooting off in the summer. I think his time's gone for Arsenal. But yeah, terrific game for Callum Chambers, and I think he's doing all the players that have had bad injuries proud, because it shows that no matter what you've got to go through, there is a way back, and there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it's a great example for players that are going through that at the minute. So yeah, he just shows a clear example. If you put your head down and you do the work and you put the grind in, you can definitely come back from it.
Definitely. Well, he's English. Jesse Lingard's English. Another great goal from Jesse Lingard, and Jesse Lingard's back in the England squad.
I mean,
what is going on?
Do you know what? I wasn't surprised by the news, by seeing it. It wasn't something that shocked me. It was just more right. So this is where Gareth's going now. So I think he's earned it, and all respect to him, because if you're in form, I've always said this about England managers, because they always used to go look at the top 4, 5, 6 clubs. The usuals: United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, and any English player there will just get selected, and never off form. And I feel like now, I'm not the biggest fan of Southgate, but credit to him for picking players that are in form. I think that's one of the big things that we've been crying out for, and he's not looking at the clubs they play for. He's looking at how they're performing. So it's all, respect to Lingard, fair play, deserves his spot, but there's some questionable selections in there. One of them being, I'm a Liverpool fan, so it's probably going to come across as bias. As a Liverpool fan, I'm thinking, sweet, Trent's not in the squad. No risk of injury. He can train under Klopp during these couple of weeks, keep himself fit. But then the England fan in me is looking at that and going, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
it's a shambles.
Yeah,
and
it's weird. It's strange. When I heard Jesse Lingard was called up, was I surprised? No, Gareth Southgate's in charge, so he's always had. To be fair, he has always had a soft spot for Jesse Lingard. Obviously, he was not playing for United. There was no way he was going to get in front of Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah,
he's been a revelation at United, and everyone will agree with that. But I just don't know. Like, you think about when it gets towards the final call, you've got Mason Mount, who's definitely going to be on the plane. James Maddison, who will be on the plane, depends on injury. Same as Grealish, depends on injury. So I think he's got in mind, hold up a minute here. I could have a bit of a dilemma here, because I could have Grealish and Maddison out, or one of the two of them out. So Jesse Lingard's next best thing, so he's going to come in for this game. So I get it, and he is a good choice to have. But for me, it's fourth choice, and I don't want fourth choice centre attacker mid going to the Euros. I
think he's using these sort of qualifiers as maybe as an audition for some of these players, because you look at the selection of a few of them and you think, okay, well, that wouldn't have been someone I'd have thought he would have gone for, but they're someone that's, you can understand why they've been selected, but they wouldn't be your first choice. And I think he's probably got, a rough idea in his head of who he's going to take in the summer already. You would do by now with, the end of March. We're going on to the tail end of March, beginning of April. So you're going to start looking and deciding on your sort of cemented players. So I think he's using this as maybe a chance. Okay, I'm going to give you a call up for these next 3 games. I want to see how you do in our setup. If you impress me and you carry on to impress during the season, this is like their chance to make a case. But his reasoning for leaving out Trent, I can't get over this. It winds me up. His reason for leaving out Trent was because he hasn't quite been on the level of previous seasons. He's not quite performing the way that he has been in past seasons. Fair enough, he's not wrong. But then he picks Kieran Trippier, who has played 5 games since December.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know it's down to a ban, but he hasn't even been playing the greatest football for Atletico. Atletico are doing good at the minute, but that's no thanks to Trippier. That's thanks to players like Suarez, and that's thanks to players like Saul Niguez and stuff like that. This isn't because of Trippier. He's played 5 games in the space of 3 or 4 months. So that I don't agree with at all. I don't understand where that logic comes from, or where that decision making comes from to say Trent's not playing on that level, so I'm not picking him. But you pick Trippier, who's never even been near that level in his whole career.
I think it just sums up Gareth Southgate's management. We could have someone a lot worse in the England manager's position. I know that, but some of the stuff he does say doesn't make sense. Some of the choices don't make sense. And I just think, I get it, like auditions and stuff like that, but I want to go into these competitions to win it. Like, it's not a playground game. It's not a friendly. Like, yes, I know it's not as important as game, but you should be starting your first 11 and get ready for the Euros so we can go in there and the team will be bonded and have good morale and team spirit and know who's playing where and what the style of play is going to be. But if you keep on muddling up all these players, and especially the starting 11 all the time, I'm not expecting to win any Euros. Whereas if you look at like Spain, who've won it before, that's just cemented. Like everyone could name their first 11 on that team sheet. Whereas I wouldn't have a clue where to start. And when we even did the Twitter poll like last month, we didn't have a clue where to start. Like Watkins, is he really going to go on the plane? No, he's not. Is he just giving him a cap because he's done well the last 7-8 weeks?
Yeah.
Yes. So, I think it is. I think that privilege of being called up to England has been lost a little bit. I think they are just throwing away caps essentially now. It's annoying to see. Like Sam Johnston from West Brom's being called up. Like, yes, he's a good keeper. I get it, but is he really going to play? No, he's not.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I guess the reason obviously behind that is because Pickford's injured, so and you've got to really select 3 keepers. But I probably would have just gone with someone who's been in some. Again, I think we look at the England setup and we look at players now. So for instance, Sam Johnston, I wouldn't have picked Sam Johnston because you look at West Brom at the minute and they're not exactly playing well. They're leaking goals. They're second bottom. Do you look at maybe a Ben Foster, someone who's been in the England setup? I know he's in the Championship with Watford, but since in this year, 2021, since the turn of the year, Watford have been second? I think that points per game. They're the second best team in the Championship. They've been playing really well, and we all know Ben Foster's a fantastic goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So this is only going to be a player that's going to be your third option. He's only going to sit there on the bench just because you have to select 3 keepers. Pick someone like Ben Foster. He's got experience in the England squad. He's there, and he's an experienced keeper, not just in international setup. Premier League, he's proven. He's doing it in the Championship at the minute, just because he's obviously loyal to Watford as of yet. So he's a player that can give some good advice and help youngsters like Pope and he's likely going to be our number 1. I know Dean Henderson, there's an argument there, but I personally could see Nick Pope going as our number 1. Get someone like Ben Foster in, bit of experience, bit of advice. It's someone really good to learn off of, who's had a good career. But I don't know, he goes with Sam, like you say. I think he's trying to play the good guy. I think that's one thing with Southgate. He's trying to be in every fan's good books. Like you've got, because you will have West Brom fans going, oh well, we've got this England player, this English lad, he's been really good this season. Why isn't he getting a call up? Like you see it all the time, because there's always going to be fans that are going to be annoyed that a player from their club hasn't been selected. I think he's just trying to play the good guy and keeping everyone's good books personally. But yeah, it's I get what you're saying about the audition thing, because there needs to be intent. We've had this thing where, like you say, with Spain, they've got that cemented squad. Like they know who's going to get selected. You might get a couple of surprises, but the whole core of the team, the majority of it, is going to be the same, because these are world-class players that are turning out for their club every week on the highest level. And we have that with England players. We have players that are playing at the very top, and not just in the Premier League, but in other leagues now. You've got Sancho in the Bundesliga who's doing it week in, week out with Dortmund. You've got, there's just an abundance of players there that just aren't getting addressed, and we need to build like a general spine for this England side. There needs to be, like, you can't keep chopping and changing and going, oh, who's going to start in goal? You can't have something like that, because if you go into a major tournament with a starting 11 that haven't really played too many games together in an international setup, you're just you're doomed from the start.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. You get 5 people in a pub and you say, who's England's goalkeeper? I guarantee all 5 of them would choose one. Yeah. All 5 of them would choose different people. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it just need clarity on that first 11. What's going on?
You look at other countries. Look at Germany. Neuer starts in goal. That's dead set. I know you've got ter Stegen, who's been in great form, but Neuer is Germany's number one. Simple. No other way of putting it. De Gea is Spain's number 1. No other way of putting it. Lloris is France's number 1. There's no going, oh, does he pick Areola? It don't happen like that.
Yeah.
Lloris is their number 1. Neuer is their number 1. De Gea is their number. You can go through so many different countries, and yet we're still sat here twiddling our fingers over who's going to start in goal for us. Like
the only definite is Harry Kane. That's in my eyes. That's the only definite.
And that worries me, because you've got a squad there where you can pick and choose. I know we're saying, oh yeah, we've got so much attacking talent now to choose from. It's all well and good, but we had so much attacking talent when we had people like Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard, Becker, all that golden generation. They didn't win anything because you had so many good players that all operated in one position. You know, with the mid, we had such a jam-packed midfield that we felt we had to play them all together, and there wasn't just that one guy who was England's number 10, who was England's number 7. It weren't like that. And I think that's mainly why, that generation didn't win anything. And I'd hate to see the same thing happen with this generation because we've got so many talented players, but we need to stop thinking about, how can we fit them all in? It don't work like that. One of them's going to be outperforming the rest. That's the one you go with.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to see how it plans out for the last 10 games of the Prem or see who takes best to playing in an England shirt. Call-ups again for Stones, Luke Shaw. Obviously, yes, Lingard spoken about, but Stones and Luke Shaw, yeah, no doubt about it, definitely deserve. And they'd be in the starting 11.
Yeah, they're two players that should be creating that spine in the England squad. I've always liked Shaw, and I think coming back from his injury and the form that he's in now, I don't see any other player taking that left back position, and I like that. I'm looking at someone who I know is, he's a definite for left back. I'm looking at Stones, another great centre back who's been unbelievable for City this year. One like the best defence in the league, has to start and has to stay in that position as well. It's tough. It is a tough one. I get it. There's so many players there to choose from. Who do you go for? But there is always going to be one that will outshine the rest. They're not going to be all playing at the same level the whole time. You're going to look at it in training when they're preparing for that first game of the Euros, and Gareth's going to have to look there and go, okay, he's playing better than the other lot. I'm going to have to select him. That's how it works. If it's going on form, one's going to be performing better than the rest. They're not all going to be on this exact same level the whole time. So he just needs to put it straight. He needs to grow a pair and stop worrying about what other people's opinions are going to be, and just go with what he sees as the best starting 11, and none of this picking and chopping and changing and going, I'll have him there and I could bring this lad in and give him a chance. Don't work like that.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's the most nerve-wracking thing about it is you don't know who's going to start. You don't know where the players, even the best players, are going to play. He likes to play players out of position to try different things to suit his England formation. So it is concerning because, I think once we see these games plan out, but I can just see him, we'll start Watkins, we'll take him off at half time just so he gets his England cap. And Sam Johnson will do the same with you. You'll play the second half. And it's hey-ho, FA are all happy because everyone's got a cap again. But, I think they are giving away too easy nowadays. And
definitely.
Yeah, it's annoying to see. But San Marino on Thursday, Sunday, Albania, and then Poland on the 31st.
Yeah, I mean, they're games that you look and you go, okay, San Marino, you think, okay, should realistically be a win. No disrespect to San Marino at all. They're not.
You never know.
No, you never know. But when a club celebrates, when a country celebrates, a 0-0 draw, you should be winning against them. And this is England we're talking about. Like we're not a pushover. We're an established, footballing country that is in the top 5 in the FIFA rankings in the world. Like we should be breezing past San Marino.
Yeah, absolutely.
Albania is another one. I mean, again, it's another a country you look at and go, there should just be another easy 3 points. The only real test from this international break for England, I would say, is going to be Poland.
Lewandowski.
Yeah, but apparently there is no lure. Bayern Munich not letting them go off on international duty, which is a bit of a shock. But I suppose again, it's a positive for England. Yeah,
well, it's a reason to basically win. Surely it's a free ticket there, really. But it would have been nice to see how Stones and Mings and Shaw, them kind of players at the back, to see put up against a Lewandowski. But yeah, confident against all 3 oppositions. It's just, is it going to be boring or is it going to be something a little bit different with the youth that he signed up for this one? So it'll be interesting to see how, even against San Marino, yes, I'm expecting to win, but it's the way we win. Do we win 2-3-0 and it's just like, it's a great free kick and it's a really worked goal, or we're going to absolutely dominate the whole game, not let them have a chance. The way I think of it, if Pep, there's not loads of managers out there, but like Pep, but if City were playing Shrewsbury, they would not give them a chance. Hope and hell. This is literally how it is. England are playing San Marino. There's not much difference at all. So I just want Southgate to go out there and just be ruthless, 6-7-0, and really go for it and make a statement.
I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you play. You have to keep your team in that winning mentality. Whether you're playing in, like you say, whether it's Man City playing Shrewsbury in the League Cup first round, or it's City playing, Bayern Munich in the Champions League, it doesn't matter. Like it's a game that you've got to go out to win. Simple as that. I can just see it though. I can just see it now being one of these international breaks where we watch England play, and we'll probably win the games, but it will be like a 1-0 versus Poland, and it will be like a 2-0 versus Albania, and it will just be looking at the football and be like, yeah, we won, but Jesus, it was boring to watch. Like I spend so many times. I love the international break. I really like international football, but sometimes when I'm watching England, like I'd rather go and have a nap because
it's boring. It can be boring.
It'll be more productive for me to sit and watch paint dry than it would to watch England sometimes in international. Like it's mind-numbing at times, and I just think there's so much potential in that squad. Southgate's just not the right person for it, in my opinion. And I'm thinking after these Euros have been and gone, we'll probably be looking at someone else taking charge in the England fold, in my opinion, because I just can't see us getting anything out of this tournament, and I can just see them looking at Southgate and going, okay, well, this wasn't quite how we thought it was going to go. This seems to be a reoccurring thing. Everyone clings on to the 2018 World Cup, but look at our opponents. I mean,
he did have a good World Cup, and about the opponents, and he brought the country together for the first time in a while, and I think that has brought him more time in the job. I don't think if we had as much of a good World Cup in 2018, he wouldn't be here now. But I think after this Euros, he's earned it. He's bought himself a little bit of time. But once this Euros is over, I really want to see, someone like Graham Potter go in there and get this England, this new golden generation together and put authority on it and say, look, this is our style of play. This is our first 11. If you want to get into the first team, you're going to have to do so much better than what you're doing. And that's what I want someone to go in there and put a bit of authority on that England space rather than it just be a charity, because it's not. It's our national team.
Yeah, when this it's not a handout for caps, like you say. This is like, people take this very seriously, and I think the fans take it a lot more seriously than what the FA do. I really don't think they respect and understand the task that's at hand here. Like when it comes to international football and England, this is a country that we should be easily one of those. Each national tournament, we should be one of the favourites, and we're not. And it's just frustrating. Like you say, there's so many better managers out there, and I know I've said before, I don't know if I said it just to you or whether it was on the pod, about how I like it when the national team is managed by a player, like a manager from that country. So with England, I like it when there is an English manager in charge, because I feel like they get it a bit more. When we had Capello and Eriksson, we did, like I said again, that golden generation with Capello and Eriksson, the players they had at their disposal, and to not win anything is because you didn't have someone that was properly invested in it, who didn't really appreciate it. You've got, I mean, Capello being, he's Italian, he's had success with, major success with Roma, even, and in his home country, he was a great manager, but to then come to another country to manage it and not fully understand, it's like, I saw a recent interview. I know it's club football, so it's slightly different. Momo Sissoko used to play for Liverpool. He said in an interview with 442 about Steven Gerrard. When it came to the Merseyside derby, apparently every time Gerrard would be in the dressing room saying, "This is my club, this is my city. Like, this is, like, I bleed red." And he was like, "If we don't go out there and beat them, you're not just letting them down, you're also letting me down." He was like, "You don't understand how much this means to someone from Liverpool." And as a Liverpool fan, and that gave them that drive and that understanding. Okay, this is more than just going out and kicking the ball about. Like, there's actual meaning to this. There's heart in it, and there's emotion invested in it. And it's the same with England. And I think you have to have someone that gets that in charge, because they can implement those emotions and that desire in it themselves. And Graham Potter's a great option. He's playing some great football with Brighton. I think you've got there's some nice little, a few decent English managers. Scott Parker maybe in time, with what he's doing with Fulham, they play good football, but I think he's got to prove himself a bit more. Even Gerrard, I think Gerrard actually with Rangers, as an England manager, I think he'd also get it.
Lampard.
Yeah, Lampard. Like, there's some great options out there for the future. But for this time being, Southgate's just not. He's not the guy.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. I think the next manager needs to come in and needs to be given a bit of time to invest in this new generation of footballers coming through. I mean, the list goes on, but the Fodens, the Grealishes, the Maddisons, Sterling's, they're all still at such a great age, and I think the sooner we get a squad together, first 11, first 16 together in that England squad, I think we'll be looking at a good future and hopefully get a trophy under our belt for me and Liam to enjoy in our lifetime. Hopefully,
hopefully,
the scenes will be good. Yeah.
Well,
brilliant.
I think that's everything covered for this week.
Yes, absolutely.
It's been a good one. I hope, again, international break, I enjoy it. So hopefully we get to see some decent football. Only time will tell. And then obviously the return of the Premier League at the start of April will be an interesting one. But I guess we'll be back in between then, covering some of the England results from between now and the next episode. So, yeah, thanks everyone for listening. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like and you share and subscribe. We always enjoy doing these for you. So, yeah, I don't know what you want to say, Ash, but thanks for everyone for listening.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you very much. Just make sure you keep on sharing it and subscribe and liking. And if you think of anyone at work, any of your mates that think they'd enjoy listening to us rabble on about the beautiful game, then please do feel free to share us.